Captain Aaron Cade stepped off the sleek silver hull of the starship Etherion and onto the surface of Allesia. The planet stretched out before him like a living painting. Twin suns hung in the sky, one casting a soft gold light, the other a faint blue shimmer. The air was crisp and smelled faintly of sweet minerals. Trees taller than skyscrapers towered overhead, their crystalline leaves refracting the sunlight into endless rainbows that danced across the smooth ground. Rivers glowed faintly, like molten glass, winding through fields of strange flowering plants. Birds with iridescent feathers glided through the air, leaving trails of sparkling dust. Every step he took, Aaron felt like he was walking inside a dream he never wanted to end. He had been sent to Allesia to study its culture, meet its people, and establish peaceful contact. Stories from other explorers painted Allesia as a paradise, a world of intelligence and beauty unlike any other in the galaxy. But no words, no report, no image could have prepared him for this. The city of Saraphell stretched out ahead, its spires glowing softly, suspended platforms connected by bridges of light, and streets full of beings of all shapes and colors moving gracefully, as if dancing to an invisible rhythm. It was beautiful, mesmerizing. And yet there was one sight among the crowd that stopped Aaron completely. She was sitting at a floating cafe near a crystal fountain, a woman unlike any he had ever seen. Her hair flowed like liquid silver, her eyes held the depth of starlit skies, and her skin seemed to radiate light, soft and warm, yet sharp with clarity. She sat alone, quiet, observing the world with an expression that made every passerby pause. There was no need for grandeur or theatrics. She didn't move in a way that demanded attention, yet everyone turned to look. Aaron felt a pull he could not explain. His heart raced, and his mind, trained for diplomacy and calculation, became suddenly useless. As he walked closer, he tried to steady himself. The locals whispered softly, their voices musical and flowing. Words he didn't understand carried tones of awe and respect. "She is the most beautiful woman on this planet," one being murmured, bowing slightly as he passed. Another simply stared, eyes wide, and then quickly looked away as if staring too long would be rude. Aaron wondered what it meant, this idea of beauty that could hold an entire crowd in quiet reverence. He had studied art and aesthetics across dozens of planets, but nothing prepared him for this, and yet he found himself smiling as he approached her table. "Hello," he said, his voice careful, polite, human. "I am Aaron Cade, captain of the Etherion. He stopped, realizing the usual formal greeting seemed ridiculous here. She looked up, and their eyes met. The world felt still, his words caught in his throat, and then, in a moment of reckless honesty, he said, "You are beautiful." The city noise faded. People continued moving around them, but it felt as though he were standing on a small island of quiet. And then she smiled. It was a simple, small smile, yet it carried the warmth of the twin suns, the calm of the glowing rivers, and the brilliance of the crystalline trees. Her lips curved upward, her eyes softened, and Aaron felt something he had never experienced before, a sense of recognition, as if his words had reached not just her ears, but her essence. "Thank you," she said softly, her voice melodic and clear, like wind chimes in a gentle breeze. "You see more than most do."
Aaron blinked. He had been trained to notice patterns, to analyze data, to detect hidden agendas.
He had visited dozens of worlds, met hundreds of cultures, but in that moment, he realized none of it mattered. What mattered was her presence, her smile, and the unexpected feeling of connection. I've never seen anyone like you," he admitted, feeling strangely vulnerable. "I don't know if anyone could have prepared me for this place. Or for you." She laughed lightly, a sound that seemed to harmonize with the glowing city itself. "Few are ready for Allesia, or for what it reveals," she said. She gestured to the world around them. "Our beauty is not only in appearance, it is in our connection. our balance with the planet, our harmony with life itself. Those who arrive with hearts closed, or eyes focused only on what they can take, rarely see the truth. Erin listened, fascinated, realizing that her words carried more than philosophy. They carried experience, wisdom, and a sense of serenity that calmed the chaos inside him. He found himself nodding. He wanted to learn more, not just about the planet, but about her, about the life she represented, about what it meant to live in harmony with something greater than oneself.
"My name is Lyra," she said, finally offering him a hand.
Her fingers were delicate yet strong, and when he shook them, it felt like a bridge had formed between their worlds.
"And you are welcome here, Aaron Cade."
Few strangers are greeted so openly, yet I sense something different in you.
Aaron felt a flush of warmth at her words, not from pride, but from the acknowledgement that he had been understood.
And in a place full of wonders, he realized that the most wondrous thing so far was the woman who sat before him. Lyra rose from her seat and motioned for him to follow. They began to walk through the city together. Floating platforms hummed beneath their feet, and the glow of the streets reflected off her skin, making her seem like part of the world itself. She showed him gardens where flowers sang as the wind passed through them, libraries carved into living trees, and quiet plazas where beings meditated in harmony with the planet's energy.
"Allesia is alive," Lyra explained.
It responds to thought, to emotion, to intention. Beauty here is not just in what is seen, but in what is felt. A being who aligns with the planet thrives. One who seeks to dominate or consume suffers. And yet there is a rare kind of courage that can change everything. Aaron listened, amazed. He had visited planets with advanced technology, with wonders of engineering and machines that defied logic, but none of them had a soul in the way this place did. And Lyra, radiant and calm, was at the center of it, both a part of the planet and a mirror of its beauty. As they walked, he asked her questions, each one more daring than the last. How did the Etherians, her people, maintain this harmony? How long had she lived? How did she remain so radiant and composed in a world that seemed to test every visitor? Lyra answered with gentle patience, never revealing all, yet offering enough to keep him captivated.
"You will learn in time," she said.
Some lessons must be experienced, not told. And courage, Aaron Cade, is not in avoiding fear. It is in facing it, knowing what is at stake, and moving forward anyway. That is what makes one truly remarkable. Aaron felt a shiver run down his spine. He did not fully understand what she meant, but he knew he wanted to experience it with her, to see this world through her eyes, and perhaps to become the kind of person worthy of standing beside her. As the suns began to set, casting long shadows across the city, Lyra led him to a quiet overlook. From there, the entire city shimmered beneath them like a sea of stars captured in crystal. The rivers reflected the fading light, and the trees glowed faintly in anticipation of night. She turned to him, and her smile returned, warmer and more knowing this time. "You see now," she said softly, "the beauty of this place is not just in what exists, but in the courage to notice it, to respect it, and to connect with it. Many pass through Allesia without ever seeing its truth. You have taken the first step." Aaron, caught between awe and a sense of destiny, simply nodded. For the first time in his life, he felt truly present, truly alive, and entirely captivated by the being before him. He realized that his journey was not just about exploration or diplomacy anymore. It was about understanding, about connection, and about discovering the true measure of courage and beauty, not in himself alone, but in the bond that had begun to form between him and Lyra, the most beautiful woman on the planet. As night fell and the twin moons rose, casting a silver glow over the city, Aaron knew that this was only the beginning. He could not predict what trials or wonders awaited him, but he was certain of one thing. Beside Lyra, the impossible seemed within reach, and the universe, in all its vastness, had suddenly become far more alive than he had ever imagined. And with that, they walked deeper into the glowing city, two figures moving together in a world that seemed to hum with possibility, mystery, and beauty. Aaron followed Lyra through the glowing streets of Saraphell, his senses overwhelmed by the city's beauty. Every step seemed alive. Every sound carried a melody, and every movement of the citizens was graceful, almost choreographed.
Yet Aaron's attention never strayed far from Lyra.
She moved with a calm confidence, her presence illuminating the path before them like a living light. "Where are we going?" he asked, careful not to break the serenity of the city. Lyra glanced at him, her eyes sparkling like the stars reflected in Allesia's rivers. "I want to show you something important," she said. "Something few outsiders ever see. It will help you understand what makes Allesia alive." They walked in silence for a while, winding through streets that floated above gardens glowing with bioluminescent flowers. The air was filled with soft hums, vibrations that Aaron felt more in his chest than in his ears. He realized that this hum was everywhere, subtle yet persistent, almost as if the planet itself were breathing. Finally, they reached a massive gate made of transparent crystal, etched with patterns that seemed to shimmer and shift. Lyra touched the gate lightly, and it parted, like water. Beyond it lay a vast courtyard filled with strange gardens, flowing streams, and towers that spiraled upward, glowing with an inner light. The entire space radiated calm and harmony. "This is the heart of Saraphell," Lyra said. "Only those who respect the planet's balance can enter.
The energy here is powerful, but gentle. It reflects your inner self."
"Those who are selfish or violent will feel it resist them." Aaron stepped forward carefully, feeling a warmth wash over him. It was as if the courtyard could sense him, measuring his intentions. He felt fear for the first time on Allesia, not of danger, but of failing to live up to the planet's expectations. He wanted to honor its beauty, to understand it fully, but he feared he might fall short. She placed a hand on his arm, gentle and grounding. "Do not fear, Aaron.
Allesia does not demand perfection. It seeks connection.
It asks only that you respect life in all its forms." As they walked deeper into the heart, Aaron noticed beings unlike any he had seen before. Some resembled humans but had elongated limbs and softly glowing eyes. Others were completely alien, with translucent bodies and shapes that shifted like flowing water. They moved gracefully, their actions perfectly synchronized with the hum of the planet. Every movement seemed meaningful, purposeful, harmonious. "You see them," Lyra said. "These are the Etherians. They have lived here for centuries, learning the ways of the planet. Our beauty, our longevity, our intelligence, all are reflections of our bond with Allesia. The planet gives, and we nurture it in return. Harmony is our strength." Aaron was fascinated. He had studied countless civilizations, but none had achieved a balance like this. Here, life was not a struggle for survival. It was a symphony, a cooperative dance between beings and the world itself. He noticed, however, that some of the Etherians paused and glanced nervously toward the edges of the courtyard. Shadows lingered where the light of the planet's energy dimmed. Aaron followed Lyra's gaze.
"Not all who arrive are peaceful," Lyra said softly. "There are those who seek to take what does not belong to them, to exploit our knowledge and our power."
They come with machines, with technology that disrupts life, that drains energy instead of nurturing it. And sometimes they succeed. Aaron felt a chill. "Have they come here before?" he asked. Lyra nodded. "Once. Decades ago. They were outsiders from another star system, seeking to extract the secrets of our longevity and the energy that sustains us. We drove them away, but they learned. Some will try again, and soon." The words settled heavily on Aaron's shoulders. He had traveled to many dangerous worlds, faced hostile creatures, and survived countless perils. But here, the threat was not obvious. It was subtle, hidden beneath the beauty and harmony of the planet. The idea of destruction of energy drained and life disrupted, filled him with a new sense of urgency. Lyra led him to a platform overlooking a large garden. The flowers glowed softly, pulsing with a rhythm that matched the hum of the planet.
"These are the energy gardens," she explained.
"They sustain Allesia and its people. Each plant, each stone, each stream is connected. Harm one, and the entire system feels it." Arin knelt and touched the ground. A warmth spread through his fingers, rising up his arm. He felt alive in a way he had never experienced before. The energy of the planet seemed to respond to him, to acknowledge his presence. He looked at Lyra, awed.
"How do you do this?"
he asked.
How can you control it? Guide it? Lyra smiled gently. Control is not the word I would use.
Connection is better. I feel the planet, I listen to it, I allow it to flow through me. That is all. And the planet responds, because it recognizes respect.
Aaron tried to understand, but the concept was unlike anything he had known. Humans were explorers, conquerors, engineers.
They tamed nature, bent it to their will. Here, power came from harmony, not force. Here, the greatest strength was patience, empathy, and understanding. As they walked further, Lyra paused beside a small fountain. She crouched and touched the water, causing ripples that shimmered into intricate patterns, reflecting the twin suns. The water responded to her touch, bending and twisting without breaking, like it understood her intent. "This," she said softly, "is how we prepare for threats. Allesia is peaceful, but not defenseless.
We use our connection to protect the planet and ourselves. But outsiders who do not understand, they are dangerous."
And some have already begun to watch us from afar. Aaron felt a surge of determination.
"Then I want to help," he said. "I may not understand everything yet, but I can learn. I want to protect this place and you."
Lyra's eyes softened.
"You are brave, Aaron."
Courage is rare among humans in this age. Many arrive with fear or greed. Few are willing to open their hearts and minds to what they cannot yet comprehend. If you wish to help, you must first learn. The planet will teach you, but only if you respect its ways. They spent the rest of the day walking through the heart of Saraphell. Lyra showed him meditation sanctuaries where beings synchronized their thoughts with the hum of the planet, libraries that stored knowledge and living memory, and towers that absorbed sunlight to store energy for the entire city. Every place reflected the delicate balance between life and energy, harmony and growth. Aaron tried to follow, to absorb as much as he could, but it was overwhelming. Every sensation, every sight, every sound carried a lesson. And at the center of it all was Lyra, patient, guiding him, radiant, and calm. As night fell and the twin moons rose, Lyra led him to a quiet overlook high above the city. The entire metropolis shimmered below them, glowing rivers snaking through fields of luminescent flowers, towers of crystal lighting up like stars. The view took Aaron's breath away, but it was Lyra's presence beside him that made his heart race. "Tomorrow," she said, "we will begin your lessons. You will learn to feel the planet's energy, to understand its flow, and to protect it if the time comes. But tonight, rest. Feel the city, feel the life around you, and remember why you came here." Courage, Aaron, begins with understanding, and understanding begins with observation. Aaron nodded. He realized he had never felt so alive, so connected, so drawn to someone, and to something, before. Lyra's smile lingered in his mind, warm and radiant, as he gazed at the glowing city below. He could sense that his life, and perhaps even the fate of Allesia, would change in ways he could not yet imagine. For the first time in his career, he did not fear the unknown. He welcomed it. And with Lyra by his side, he felt ready to face whatever challenges might come, knowing that courage, empathy, and connection would guide him through the trials ahead. And as the twin moons cast their silver light over the city, Aaron understood that the true beauty of Allesia was not only in its glowing landscapes or radiant rivers, it was in its people, in their harmony with life, and in the quiet strength of one extraordinary woman who had shown him the first step toward understanding it all. The twin moons hung high in Allesia's sky, casting a soft silver glow over the city of Saraphell. Aaron awoke before dawn, his mind restless with anticipation. The lessons Lyra had promised weighed heavily on him, not in a way that caused fear, but in a way that made him realize how much he did not yet understand. The city was quiet, the hum of the planet faint but persistent, like a heartbeat just beneath the surface of everything. Lyra appeared at the edge of his quarters, radiant even in the dim light. Her silver hair shimmered faintly, reflecting the moonlight, and her eyes held the calm patience he had come to rely on. She gestured for him to follow, and they stepped outside into the morning glow. "Today," she said softly, "you will begin to feel Allesia, not just with your eyes or your ears or even your hands. You will feel it with your mind, your heart, and your intent. Only then will you understand the true connection between the planet and its people."
Aaron nodded. He had studied countless worlds, fought wars in distant systems, and survived deadly expeditions.
Yet he knew with a certainty that surprised him that nothing had prepared him for this. They walked through the heart of Saraphell to a secluded plateau, overlooking a vast valley. The air was thick with energy, gentle but undeniable. Lyra placed her hand on his shoulder, and he felt a warmth spread through him, a faint vibration that resonated deep within his chest. "Close your eyes," she instructed. "Breathe. Listen not just to the sounds around you, but to the rhythm beneath them. The hum of life, the pulse of the planet."
"Feel it." Aaron obeyed, shutting his eyes.
At first he felt nothing but his own heartbeat in the breeze on his skin, but gradually, subtle shifts entered his perception. A faint vibration through the ground, the whisper of energy flowing through the air, the pulse of life in the trees and rivers. It was unlike anything he had experienced. It was not magic, not electricity, not force. It was awareness, alive and responsive, and it seemed to be reaching for him, testing him. Lyra guided him through breathing exercises, focusing techniques, and movements that mimicked the flow of energy. He stumbled repeatedly, his human impatience fighting against the gentle insistence of the planet. But she never scolded him. She only smiled, her presence steady and encouraging, until, after hours of practice, he felt something he had never felt before. A faint connection, a recognition that the planet was aware of him as he was of it.
"You feel it now," Lyra said quietly.
A beginning? Do not mistake this for mastery. You are only opening a door. Many spend lifetimes trying to reach this point, and some never do.
But you, Aaron, have a spark. That spark can grow. The valley below shimmered with energy he could now sense more than see. Trees glowed faintly, streams rippled in patterns that seemed purposeful, and the entire city pulsed with life, as though the planet itself were breathing. He realized that this connection was not simply a power, it was responsibility. To misuse it, or take it for granted, could cause unimaginable harm. As the day passed, Lyra showed him more. She taught him how to focus the energy to sense changes in the environment, how to feel disturbances in the flow of life, and how to align his own intentions with the planet's will. He learned slowly, clumsily, but he learned. And as he did, he also began to see shadows moving beyond the glowing gardens, disturbances that did not belong. "It begins," Lyra said, her voice tight with concern. "The outsiders have arrived." At the edges of the valley, beyond the light and harmony, he saw strange machines crawling across the land like insects. Their metal bodies reflected the sun's light, cold and lifeless, cutting through the gentle glow of Allesia's energy. The ground beneath them darkened, the trees near them shivering as though in pain. Aaron felt a pang of fear, not for himself, but for the planet. "They seek to drain the energy," Lyra explained. They do not understand it. They only see it as a resource, a tool for power. If they reach the heart of Saraphell, Allesia could die. And with it, everything we protect.
Aaron clenched his fists.
But this was unlike anything he had encountered. There were no weapons he could use, no ships he could call, only his mind, his courage, and the connection he was learning to cultivate. "Can I help?" he asked, voice steady despite the fear. Lyra looked at him, her eyes holding a mixture of admiration and caution. "You can, but you must be careful. The outsiders are clever, relentless, and without empathy. We cannot fight them with brute force alone. The planet must be our ally, and you must learn to become one with it, to guide its energy without trying to control it." The sun dipped toward the horizon, casting long shadows across the valley. Lyra took Aaron's hand, and together they focused on the flow of life around them. Slowly, hesitantly, he felt it again. The faint hum, the subtle pull of energy beneath the surface. He could sense the machines moving through the outskirts, disrupting the balance. And then, for the first time, he felt a faint surge in response to his own intent. The planet, it seemed, recognized his effort and acknowledged him in return. Lyra smiled at him, a soft, proud curve of her lips. "Good."
"Very good. Do not let fear guide you.
Let understanding guide you." As night fell, they retreated to a high overlook where they could see the city and the approaching threat. The machines moved with precision, clearly controlled by intelligent beings. Their purpose was clear: drain the energy gardens, disrupt the flow, and take Allesia for themselves. Lyra placed her hands on Aaron's shoulders again. "Tomorrow, we begin preparation. You must learn to focus your connection to the planet, to respond swiftly, to protect the heart. But you must also learn patience. The planet is alive, and it will not act against us unless we act in harmony with it. Force alone will fail." Aaron nodded, understanding for the first time the magnitude of what lay ahead. This was not just an adventure or a mission. It was a responsibility, a test of courage, empathy, and intelligence. And failure was not an option. Not for him, not for Lyra, not for Allesia. Hours passed as they trained in the moonlight. Lyra demonstrated subtle manipulations of energy, flowers bending without touch, streams shifting their course, the air itself seeming to vibrate with intent. Aaron imitated, fumbling at first, then slowly gaining confidence as he felt the faint currents of power responding to him. Each success, small though it was, filled him with awe and determination. By the time the twin suns rose again, Aaron felt a connection he had never known. The outsiders' machines were closer now, and the valley trembled faintly under their approach. Lyra's eyes were calm, but he knew she was preparing herself for what was to come. "You are ready," she said quietly, though her voice carried a weight of warning. But readiness is not certainty. "Courage will guide us, and understanding will protect us. Remember this, Aaron. The greatest power lies not in strength, but in harmony. The planet will respond, but only if we are true to its ways." Aaron met her gaze, and for the first time he realized he did not fear what lay ahead. The machines, the intruders, the threat to the planet. It was real, dangerous, and terrifying. But beside Lyra, with the faint pulse of the planet flowing through him, he felt prepared. And so, as the city of Saraphell glowed beneath them, Aaron and Lyra stood together, ready to face the coming storm. The outsiders were near, their intentions clear, and the balance of Allesia hung in the balance. Yet in that moment, human courage and Etherian wisdom stood side by side, ready to protect the most beautiful world they had ever known. The adventure, the danger, and the test of their connection had only just begun. The night was deep, and the twin moons bathed the city of Saraphell in their silvery glow. The machines had moved closer, crawling like metal spiders across the outskirts of the valley. Their cold, lifeless eyes reflected the light of the moons, and the air around them vibrated with unnatural energy, as if the planet itself was wary of their presence. Arene and Lyra stood atop a cliff, overlooking the approaching threat. The hum of Allesia pulsed faintly beneath them, a heartbeat in the world, and Aaron felt it responding to his own rising determination. Lyra placed her hand on his arm, steadying him. "This is the moment we have prepared for," she said. Her silver hair shimmered in the moonlight, and her eyes held a calm brilliance that steadied his nerves.
"The outsiders do not understand the planet."
"They see only what they desire. They do not see the balance, the harmony, the life. But we do. And together, we will protect it." Aaron swallowed hard, the weight of responsibility pressing on his shoulders. He had faced danger before, but never anything like this. The machines were relentless, their intelligence precise, their purpose clear. They would stop at nothing to drain the energy gardens, to disrupt the balance, to take Allesia for themselves. Yet beside Lyra, he felt courage and clarity he had never known. Lyra lifted her hands, and the faint glow of the valley below began to shift. Streams of energy from the gardens pulsed in response to her intent, bending and twisting like living currents. Flowers leaned toward her as if drawn by an invisible force, and the air vibrated with a gentle resonance. Aaron placed his own hands on the ground, focusing as she had taught him, and he felt the faint pulse of the planet respond. It was weak at first, but with each breath, each intention, he felt it grow stronger. "The planet will aid us," Lyra said softly.
"But only if we act in harmony. Do not force it. Guide it. Become part of it."
The first machines reached the edge of the gardens. Their metal legs crushed delicate plants, and the energy of the planet dimmed where they touched. Aaron felt a pang of fear and anger, but Lyra's calm hand rested on his shoulder. "Focus," she whispered. "Channel your intent. Protect. Do not attack." Aaron closed his eyes and let himself become part of the flow. He felt the pulse beneath his feet, the hum in the air, the rhythm of life that connected every living thing. Slowly, deliberately, he extended that energy outward, toward the intruding machines. The light from the gardens brightened, streams of energy rising like invisible barriers. The machines hesitated, their movements faltering under the unexpected resistance. Lyra smiled faintly.
"Good. Keep it steady. Let the planet's will flow through you."
Together they guided the energy, bending streams and light to shield the gardens. Flowers lifted and formed a barrier of luminous petals. Streams twisted to divert the machine's path, and the air itself seemed to thrum with life, resisting the cold intrusion. The outsiders' machines pressed forward, but each step was met with gentle yet unyielding opposition. Aaron realized something astonishing. He could feel the machines' intent, their calculations, their purpose. He could sense their movements before they happened, anticipate their next step. Lyra had taught him to listen, to become part of the energy, and in doing so, he could act with precision that no human skill alone could achieve. One of the larger machines advanced too quickly, crushing a patch of flowers. Aaron focused, his mind reaching out to the energy, guiding it with careful intention. A wave of glowing force rose, lifting the machine slightly, redirecting it away from the gardens without breaking it. It tumbled harmlessly to the side, harmless but immobilized. Aaron's heart pounded with exhilaration. He was no longer just a visitor. He was part of the planet's defense. Lyra moved beside him, her hands weaving patterns in the air. Energy from the streams and trees responded instantly, flowing to her intent. Together, they created a network of light, a living barrier that both repelled and contained the intruders. The machines hissed and clicked, unable to overcome the harmony that enveloped them. But then, a larger threat appeared. From the distance, a massive machine advanced, its core glowing with a deep red energy that pulsed with destructive intent. The smaller machines followed, their patterns erratic now, desperate to reach the heart of Saraphell. Aaron felt a chill as he sensed the danger. This was no ordinary intruder. It was powerful, intelligent, and relentless. Lyra's eyes narrowed, her calm brilliance now sharpened with focus.
"This one," she said, "is different."
"It must be guided carefully. You will need to channel your connection fully, Aaron. Trust yourself. Trust the planet. Trust me." Aaron took a deep breath, closing his eyes. He felt the pulse of Allesia beneath him, steady and strong. He reached out, extending his intent like a thread of light, connecting with every plant, every stream, every particle of energy in the valley. The hum of life intensified, resonating with his heartbeat. He felt the planet respond, acknowledging his courage and intent. Together, he and Lyra directed the energy toward the massive machine. Streams of light twisted and coiled around it, slowing its advance, diverting its energy away from the gardens. The machine thrashed, but the harmony of Allesia was stronger, more persistent. Aaron felt a surge of exhilaration and fear as he realized how delicate the balance was. One misstep could shatter everything. Lyra's voice guided him, calm and steady. "Flow with it, Aaron. Do not fight. Guide."
He obeyed, letting go of fear, letting the energy move through him rather than forcing it.
Slowly, the massive machine began to falter, its movements becoming erratic, its energy dissipating harmlessly into the surrounding streams. The smaller machines, sensing the failure of their leader, hesitated and then retreated, unable to penetrate the protective harmony that now pulsed through the gardens. For a moment, there was silence. The valley glowed softly, the plants swaying gently as if nothing had happened. Aaron opened his eyes and looked at Lyra. She was smiling, calm and proud. The machines were gone, retreating into the distance, their threat neutralized. "You did it," Lyra said softly. "We did it." Together, Aaron felt a rush of relief and exhilaration. He had faced something he could never have imagined, and through courage, focus, and connection, he had helped save an entire world. Yet he also understood the weight of what they had done. This was not victory alone. It was responsibility. The planet had trusted them, and they had honored that trust. Lyra placed her hand on his cheek, her eyes reflecting the soft glow of the gardens. "You have grown, Aaron. Courage is not the absence of fear. It is the choice to act, to protect, to connect, even in the face of danger. You are part of Allesia now, and Allesia is part of you."
Aaron felt a warmth in his chest, deeper than pride.
It was awe, respect, and something else he could not name. He had never imagined that courage, connection, and empathy could feel so powerful, so real. And yet, here, in this glowing valley with the most extraordinary woman he had ever known beside him, he felt it fully. The twin moons reflected in the rivers, the flowers glowed softly, and the air hummed with quiet life. Aaron looked at Lyra, and she smiled again, that same radiant, calm, beautiful smile that had captivated him from the moment he saw her. He realized then that beauty was not simply in appearance. It was in courage, in harmony, in wisdom, in the quiet strength that guided and protected. And in Lyra, it was all of these things and more.
"Thank you," he said simply, "for showing me this."
For trusting me, for being here.
Lyra's eyes softened.
It is you who learned, Aaron. You trusted yourself, and you trusted Allesia. That is what made the difference. As dawn approached, casting soft light over the city, Aaron and Lyra walked through the gardens, their hands brushing occasionally, their presence a silent promise. The danger had passed, for now. The planet hummed in quiet gratitude, and the city of Saraphell began to stir, peaceful once more. Aaron realized that the galaxy was full of wonders, but the greatest discovery he had made was not a planet, a machine, or an artifact. It was courage, connection, and the ability to protect something greater than oneself. And it was in the presence of Lyra, radiant, calm, and extraordinary, that he had found the true measure of beauty and strength. They paused at the edge of a glowing river, the reflection of the twin suns faint but persistent on the water's surface. Lyra turned to him, her expression serene. The planet is safe. For now. But remember, Aaron, life is always in motion. Balance must be maintained. Courage, empathy, and harmony will always be needed. He nodded, feeling a sense of purpose, unlike any he had ever known.
I understand, he said, and I will not forget. Lyra smiled, reaching for his hand.
Then we begin the next chapter, together. And as the first rays of sunlight touched the crystalline trees and flowing rivers, Aaron realized that he had not only found courage and understanding, but also a bond, a partnership, and a connection that would guide him through the rest of his journey. Allesia had given him more than lessons or challenges. It had given him purpose, hope, and the chance to stand beside someone extraordinary. And in that quiet, radiant moment, the most beautiful woman on the planet smiled at him once again, and Aaron knew that the universe, vast and mysterious as it was, had revealed one of its greatest treasures, the harmony of courage, connection, and true beauty.